Welcome to Open Arms, an honest conversation about firearms. Hey everyone, I'm your host Brian Lockerman, and today's show is brought to you by Open Arms, an MB Studio production show. Today I have with me Lori Mills, politician and radio host. Welcome, Lori.
Thanks so much for having me, Brian. I'm honored to be here.
That's wonderful. Now, I heard you ran for state assembly. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was a businesswoman, wife, mother, and our country's going in the wrong direction. And one day I was at church and Pastor Rob McCoy said, "What are you willing to give up for your country?" And then there was more turns of events. Got invited to Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, wow.
Met a lot of people from Congress. Marsha Blackburn, had dinner with Debbie Lesko, met Ted Cruz, and they all said, "Run for office." And I came back the next day and I filed and became a politician.
Well, that's great. That's wonderful. Now, were there some things that made you want to do that that's happening to our country?
Absolutely. Number one, with what is happening with our children.
Yes.
I found out during COVID, the only blessing of COVID, what they were teaching our children, and found out that my son was taught about sex toys in high school. And so I started a parents group back then, tried to get the libraries cleaned up. There's a lot of books in the libraries that are age inappropriate. So it was just a series of things because I've sold real estate in the area for the last 30 years, which actually gave me really good qualifications for the state assembly because I'm an expert negotiator and I do contract.
Oh, very good. Very nice. You're right about that, about the kid thing, about what's going on with the schools and what they're teaching our kids these days. I'm not a fan myself.
Yeah, most Americans want to be left alone to live their lives.
That's correct.
And all of a sudden we have these ideologies being shoved down our throats. And you know what? I don't care how you live your life. Go do it in your bedroom. It's none of my business.
I agree.
But don't tell my kid they can choose their pronouns and they could be one of 57 genders.
Yeah, I know it. I know, right?
Yeah, we've got a problem with truth in this country right now.
You nailed it right in the head there. I mean, when I grew up in school, what do we do every morning? We did the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mm-hmm.
We respected our country. We were taught about our country.
Yes.
We were taught who we are, about the amendments and everything like that. Today, it seems like a lost cause. Am I correct?
Well, what's scaring me is what I've seen as a color revolution, which we've seen in other countries. It started with the Antifa riots, with the tearing down of our statues. That's what happens in foreign nations. That's what our CIA used to do to other countries. Mm-hmm. And it seems now, especially with the release of the Twitter files, those powers have been turned against the American people.
Yeah.
And we live in dangerous times. When I read Twitter files number 8, and it basically said that the Department of Defense and the CIA are running a psyop on the American people, we got a big problem.
Yeah, I agree. I agree there. Now, if you did get your place in office, would there be something you would change about the school system and maybe about more safety for the kids in school?
Absolutely. I believe that kids belong to the parents and not the state.
Mm-hmm.
So the parents need to be involved and know what the curriculum is. Not only that, they should have a say if they think something's inappropriate and be able to opt their children out.
I agree there, 100%.
Now, school safety, why aren't we hardening our schools? This could be resolved. Let's be honest with each other.
Yes.
Criminals don't like hard targets.
That's right.
They usually don't set fire off shoot anybody in an airport. It's very rare. Our banks are secure, but our most precious asset, our children, are not protected.
I agree there. And that horrible thing that happened in Nashville. I mean, maybe that could have been prevented by having it more hardened, correct?
I do believe so, because I did hear, and I don't know if it's true, so fact check me if I'm wrong, that the shooter actually had chosen another school as well, but there was security at that school, so she went directly to Covenant.
Really? I did not know that. That's something I want to definitely
It's interesting they're keeping the manifesto hidden.
Yeah, of course. That's the way it always is, right?
Yeah, unless you got a MAGA hat on.
Yeah, no doubt. So, talking about that, are you opposed to having maybe teachers armed maybe security at schools?
If they're well trained,
That's right there. That's perfect. Well trained.
yeah, and they're comfortable with it. I would have no problem having veterans, retired veterans in school,
That'd be
retired
fantastic.
police officers in school, even if they're playing up like they're a janitor.
Yeah,
I
that's-
really don't care.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is if a threat comes into the schools the way it did in Nashville and so many other places, we need to make sure somebody's there to put it down quick. And you know what? Those Nashville officers were amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were amazing. They did such a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And what a difference between that and Uvalde?
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Exactly. I know,
Right.
right? A big difference.
I've heard a couple different things there.
So now let me ask you this. What's your history about guns and gun ownership?
Well, you know, I grew up in California. I was born in Santa Monica, raised in Orange County. I never felt like I needed a gun. We used to leave our front door unlocked.
Yeah.
I think the only scare I had as a kid was when the Night Stalker was out.
Oh, yeah.
And the security that we chose at that time is my friend put a roll of toilet paper that by the door because she thought we'd hear him come in. It was that silly. But I would say when I started seeing the Black Lives Matter riots, when I started seeing the Antifa riots, and I started noticing that we don't have equal justice under the law anymore,
That's correct.
I bought my first gun.
You did.
And now I have 5.
Nice. Now, did you get proper training?
Absolutely. I am a member of Smoke and Barrel.
Very
And they've got a lot of police officers and retired officers that work there. So I went into classes, I was trained. And again, gun safety is number one.
100%. And that's why I put the show together.
Yes.
For that reason alone.
Yes.
I'm so glad to hear that you did it that way. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So what? What are the 5 guns you have?
Well, we have a Glock, we have a SIG, we have a shotgun. I have an AR-15, which is my favorite gun, I have to say. And then we just have another revolver.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
good. Very good. Do you get out to shoot off? Do you keep your chops up and your?
Yeah, I have a membership to Smoke and Barrel, so
Oh,
I'll
okay,
go
okay.
shoot there. And then I have gone up to the range in Santa Clarita, the outdoor range. That's been really fun. One of my goals, and maybe you can help me with this, is I would love to go to like one of those ranges where you go through different stations.
Oh yeah.
I would love to do that. I've never done that. I would love that.
I can set you up with that with no problem. That is very fun. It's
Yeah.
fun and it's exciting, and actually it teaches you a lot too.
Yeah,
It really
because,
does.
you know, under the heat of the moment, you want that memory,
100%.
you know, and I've never been in that situation. I've shot at targets,
Yeah.
which is good and fine. And I'm a pretty good, you know, I have a pretty good aim. But to put yourself in those situations where something
true.
could happen,
'Cause everything changes at that point.
right? Because your emotions.
Exactly. I talked to a lot of my officer friends, and they say when you're in a firefight, it just everything's out the window at that point. Your heart is racing. You're not, you know, you're trying to keep your sights on point and stuff like that. It's sometimes tough, you know, but having that training doing that helps.
And
big
we
time.
saw that in Nashville with those officers.
Yes.
The way they went in the building, the way they checked behind them, the way they checked each door, it was precision.
Exactly.
It was precision. And I would like to get to that point.
Yeah, 100%. That'd be fantastic. Okay, so you apparently have a radio hosting job as well, or you?
Yes. You know, when you look at all the corruption that's happened
Uh-huh.
in our state and in our country, and you go through the election process and you see the lies that are hurled at you. You know,
Yeah.
my opponent actually said that I had Hitler ideology.
Oh my.
She ran on that. And her entire campaign was a lie when I ran on her record. You can't be quiet.
Yeah.
And I think that we live in a time where you have to speak out.
I
Because
agree.
if we don't speak out, we're going to lose this country.
You're absolutely right. We were on our way to losing the country, and
Yeah.
it's time for us to take it back.
And we've lost California.
Oh, I know that.
Let's not kid each other. This is not the same state I grew up
No.
in. As of January 1st, we became a sanctuary state for transitioning children. A lot of people don't know they voted for Proposition 1, the abortion bill, but what they actually voted for was full-term and perinatal abortion up to 28 days after birth.
Oh.
We've got an open border. We've got 107 countries crossing our border.
Yeah.
We have, we're being infiltrated. Right now, we know that Chinese nationals are coming in. They're all military-aged men.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want my gun.
I know it. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So is this what these are the topics you talk about on your radio station?
We talk about everything. I've had Brandon Judd on. It's on KABC. It's
Okay.
called Uncover California.
Okay. Okay.
With Lori Mills and my co-host Mike Netter. Jennifer Van Laar will be my co-host this weekend.
Oh, very nice.
She's the chief editor of Red State. But we do different topics on California, some national news. I've had, as I said, Brandon Judd, who's the president of Customs and Border Patrol, on, talking about what's going on in the border. We had Chloe Cole on, who's a little girl at 12 years old. They started transitioning her. The goal of the show is to break through the echo chamber,
There you
to
go.
break through the media's lies by omission.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, because they're telling a story, not the story, and they're hiding what they do from the public, including the Capitol Democrats and Gavin Newsom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just raised the gas tax again for the second time this year, but they're blaming the oil companies when Gavin Newsom shut down 25% of oil production. So we tackle various subjects, but the goal always is to let people discuss the truth.
That's
And we do
fantastic.
take live call-ins.
Oh,
as
really?
well,
Okay.
which
That's
is
good.
fun.
That's good. So how do people call in? Can you tell them what?
It's 800-222-5222. KBC, we're live Saturdays from 12 to 1. And then the show can be live streams, and then it's released on podcast after.
Very nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind being on your show one day.
Yes,
you know?
I'd love for you to be.
Oh, of course. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. So my question is for you: do you think you're going to run again? Oh, wait. Before you answer that, how well did you do?
Honestly, for a first-time candidate against a 5-time incumbent, she gained a portion of LA that she didn't have before. Ventura County, that was her district before, I got 49% of the vote
Really?
against a 5-time incumbent.
Wow.
Understand, she spent $1.3 million
Oh, geez.
running against me.
Oh,
She knew she was in trouble. A month before the election, the Democrats poured another $50,000 into her campaign. I was 100% grassroots, where she was supported by corporations, lobbyists. We don't have an even playing field. One thing that was really disappointing to me is my son, who graduated high school last year, went directly into the Marine Corps 2 weeks after graduating
wow.
and became a United States Marine.
Very nice.
Yes, and after boot camp, he came home. It was about October. We filled out his ballot together. He stuck it in the mail. They never got it. If it happened to him, it happened to other people.
Of course, we know that.
So I truly believe we win the message, we win the vote, they win the harvest. And we need to play this game a little bit differently. And churches, you need to get involved.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
So then, do you think you're going to run again?
Possibly in 2026.
Okay.
And possibly for the assembly again, or possibly for something else.
Awesome. Well, if you do, you let us know. We will help campaign for you. It'd be a pleasure.
Oh, I would appreciate that. All the help I can get.
Absolutely. Well, Lori, it's been great talking to you. I mean, you've shared a lot of good thoughts today. I'm looking forward to listening to your radio station as well. One more time for the people again. We're at the radio station.
Well, okay, you can find past podcast at uncovercali.com.
Okay.
We also have a merchandise store. We made a really cute tie and t-shirt.
Nice.
If you're on Twitter, it's a Twitter troll. It's super fun. And you can find me on Twitter at Lori Mills, 4CA.
Okay.
And we're on live on KBC AM 790 from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock every Saturday.
Sounds good. All right. I'll be tuning in for sure.
Oh, great. I would love that.
Lori, thank you very much for being part of this show too today. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for teaching people to be safe with their guns.
That's what it's all about. Thank you as well. Everyone, that's the show today. Thank you for tuning in. And always remember, safety, family, and the Second Amendment.